Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another all-new X's for Show, your premier media response show. We're doing a Sunday brunch day, having a good time. As always, check us out at X's for Show on all the soch. As for me, I'm Nico Action.
And I'm TK.
And I'm Jonah.
And that makes me your producer, Kevo. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But today, we're having a gas on Global All-Stars. And everybody say love.
Everybody say love.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so sorry, Kevin. I wanted to respect the whole phrase. I wanted to say all of it. I was like, everybody say. I was in all the way.
Everybody say I love you.
Oh, truly. I just think this is it's already shaping up to be quite a season. TK, what you got?
I have nothing. I thought, I don't know. This was a weird episode for me. This is a weird show. I don't hate it.
No.
It's weird. Like, you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Like, I ultimately think Global All-Stars could really be a feature of the Drag Race international brand. I don't know. I just feel like they're so scared to take really big swings about this brand, and to really, like, they're so desperate for homogeneity, which, like, you know, for all the homo jokes we can make about that,
they're all homogeneities.
Exactly. Great drag name, don't steal it. The whole thing, like, the whole reason, I mean, Rue would talk for so long about how she was marketing subversive drag at the mainstream, but the whole point of subversion is kind of that diversity. And Global All-Stars, I wish it felt like a delineated brand from any other kind of All-Stars due to the international nature of it. Right. And it's little things like, and we'll talk about a bunch of stuff, but even just like that this week it's Ross Matthews and next week it's Carson. And it's now been a hot minute since we've seen an international star that might show up and be like, hey, I've been to America, I've been to Brazil, I've been to Belgium, I've been to Germany, I've been to Spain, I've seen drag in all of those places. Let me talk to you about how your performance was. Like, Ross Matthews barely leaves Palm Springs. So sometimes go for it.
What you're saying is even pointing to something we talk about a lot, which is we expected a lot from Global All-Stars.
Yeah.
And it kind of just feels like another Drag Race show.
Yeah.
This wasn't really the Olympics of drag that we had been anticipating for over a year.
And it's a lot of it doesn't even have to be budgets. Like, I don't need it to be the biggest sets, the most international, like, you know, they're doing a Formula One race car challenge. But, like, give me hype guest judges and market and format like it's a little bit something special. Like, you actually have made it to the Olympics insofar as, like, we're talking international now. It's not the whatever the American qualifiers are, which would be All-Stars. This is now the next level where you're doing it internationally.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I just want to say, number one, Jonah, it's really gross the way you just erased Maddie Morphosis from the brand. And I can't believe that I have to be the one who steps in and reminds you they're not all homogeneous. So horrifying.
She sucked a dick or two to get where she is today.
Well, I mean,
one way or another.
But, you know, when we're talking about Global All-Stars, one of the things and the homogeneity of it, I really feel like the bigger picture about this international brand comes down to the way the challenges on the show disseminate into that international culture sphere. So when we're talking about what moves across and what goes where, certain things do carry across, like challenges. We know that there's probably going to be a girl group challenge most places. We learned from, I forget, Canada versus the World, that there aren't roasts everywhere because that doesn't translate everywhere. But what I guess I didn't really think too much about is these girls are sort of behaving at times like early series girls, because the early series has been around longer. And if you think about it a little bit, before other nations got their own versions, they were watching the American. And then I imagine at some point, the homegrown version became the one you care a little bit more about. And good for you. You deserve to. If they're going to make a version of your art and put it on your TV, you have every right to love it as much as I want to love your art just as much. And so I wonder how much these girls are playing into early series stereotypes because that's what they know better. And I felt that the Untucked action was a little classic series bitchy in some shocking ways.
Like pedestrian almost.
I want to point out is I'm missing the globalness of this All Stars, and it's none of the girls' fault. I think this is a production problem that, and TK alluded to this. We've had now it's 3 Americans already as the main judges, and the first 2 episodes we had some international divas and stars, which was great, and now it's 3 weeks in a row, or 2 weeks that's going to be Americans again, and we're expecting all of these girls to not be an international audience. We're expecting to be for an American audience, and it's not really global. RuPaul is never going to have another drag queen on the panel because she's not going to risk anybody looking better than her. Point blank, period. That's how it is. That's why we're not going to see Brooke here. That's why we're not going to see Pangina as judges. We're not going to see Nikki. We're not going to see Lolita or Valentina. And that sucks, because I want that international perspective, which is why I kind of liked the first 2 episodes, because we had these 2 beautiful women who weren't American, can give a different perspective, who can give a different idea of what everything looks like. But we're expecting these international girls to act like they're Americans, and that's not really fair, because we have 3 people who kind of do that in the sense of, well, they've already judged by RuPaul between Kitty, Alyssa, and Kween. Mm-hmm. They already know the gig. They know what to do in front of RuPaul. Everybody else is their first time being in front of RuPaul. And not to say that some of their audiences aren't from America, but the expectation on them, I think, is where we're having some difficulty, especially because we're expecting everybody here to speak, for most of them, probably their second or third language. Not everybody here is an ESL, English first language speaker, and that's fine. And to circle to what you were talking about, Nico, Nehelenia, I think, is the person on the cast who has the weakest English, and she talked about a little bit how the first couple of weeks she felt isolated from the cast because I think she speaks the least. She speaks English not the best comparative to everybody else. So subconsciously, I don't think this was a conscious effort to discredit her or to, isolate her, but I think it was a subconscious, because they already assumed it's already a harder language barrier. She kind of might have been left out a little bit, which is where I think a lot of the frustrations of Untucked this week, bubbled to the surface.
Yeah, we've seen that happen with the Puerto Rican queens in America. That's such a common phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say that is a cultural othering based on linguistic barriers is such a major element of our society. It's, and I remember being in the tri-state area in the early 90s, and people would literally still say to people, "Excuse me, don't speak Spanish in front of me. I can tell you're talking about me." To people where you would have to be like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting. Please don't ever do that. Oh my God, it's fine if they want to speak their language. Please just let them speak their language. Oh my God." And now you sort of see that done in a different way here. It's not the same thing. It's not the overtness of it, but there is a subtle way that we all have a natural bias when we have trouble communicating. And it's a sort of unfortunate thing to see so plainly put out there, which is why one of the things that made my heart very happy this week was write it in any language you want. They did not say write it in your language. They did not say that. Because, first of all, not every nation has a national language. They don't need it. English is not our national language here in America.
Sorry.
It's just not. We use English, we've adopted English, but there is no rule that says everything must be in English. And so there's nations that have multiple languages, and there are people who, especially in that European atmosphere of so close enculturation of multiple languages, you might need to speak multiple languages for your business. And so I just love that there was a freedom of expression here that we maybe don't get quite enough. So, oh, good, go.
That being said, I didn't really like all of these mixes.
No, bad. They're bad. I did not do one because they're bad.
I think all of the girls are great. Really, nobody had like a terrible night. Again, which is great. Nobody. I don't think anybody was really like, oh, you were bad. You had some people who maybe were a little bit weaker, or maybe you saw them thinking about the steps of the performance as opposed to being in the performance a little bit more. But nobody did bad, and it's not their fault that they got bad mixes. I particularly did not like the K-pop mix. That has nothing to do with the K-pop group. I just did not like the mix. I thought they did the best with what they could. This was just.
Yeah, I think I liked that one the most. Interestingly, that was the third one, right?
No, that was the second one.
Oh, okay. No, then I hated that one too.
The third
That was
one
actually
was
the one I was going. What was
the third one was the Europop one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the second one was the one I was going to say, actually, like, going back and reviewing and getting more images for the cover. I was like, this one I really genuinely think I might not like at all.
And I think part of it for me has to do with the song they picked in the first place. Everybody Say Love is from All Stars 4. Because it's got, because it's not a little bit of love. Where she says, everybody say love at the end, which I think everybody kind of went to. This is from one of the All-Stars. And I listened back to the original, which has some, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one with Evie in it. Right? Like Everybody Say Love is from a previous
This might be an original oh wait, Everybody Say Love cast of All Stars 4.
Yeah. And so I was just like listening to it extensively yesterday because I wanted to put together a mix for this. None of these sound anything like that song. They just are 4 different songs with the same title. It might as well be like truly an original piece of music that Jonah, somebody who is so well versed in this show, didn't think of it. The fact that I thought of it and made me go, huh.
Everybody Say Love is the song that had Lizzo as the as the feature chorus singer. And I actually thought was great. And this was one of those moments where they just gave really weird critiques, which is funny because I sort of felt like we got something similar here where particularly Pythia, I really wasn't clear. I think it was partially the edit and how they cut her critiques, but Michelle says, like, don't ever let them see that you're nervous, just have fun with it. And then they cut to her literally doing exactly that. She is not in any way in what they cut to showing that she knows she's screwing up. She's just having fun with it.
Yep.
And then that is her only negative critique. Her look, they go insane for. And they really talk about how good it is. And then the narrative is she's just maybe barely squeaking by, might be in the bottom. Which was just a really odd moment. Similarly, like Miranda, they sort of do the opposite where they do note that she had some trouble, but they kind of make it sound like you overcame your trouble because you've got the personality for it and you just kind of went for it. And then they're like, no, you're in the dirt right now. And then Vanity was the one where I was just like, I might have said, this is where we get a little bit into the internationality of it all. And I either might have focused on how are you a stage performer that has nothing prepared for the idea of dance. I get that you sing live and I'm not saying you need moves, but I feel like regardless of the nation that you are from, I would like to know what you have prepared for movement when you get on a stage. There's got to be something. This is not. It can't just be a lounge act. And so the fact that they were like, you're not a dancer, and she's like, no, I sing live, and RuPaul just goes, oh, okay, moving on, was such a weird moment, because I've seen RuPaul like take people to task for lesser things and be like, why don't you
smaller
have
shows?
Yeah, like why don't you have a response prepared when somebody says something funny at you on the street? Like there are so many times where she's like, why don't you have a look prepared if somebody asks you to come get to the club right now? So I just kind of would have been interested to know, you are this pop princess, you won the talent show for a number,
and won the lip sync.
And won the lip sync, and that's the other thing. Like she won this lip sync, and I think she did win because she has, to quote my girl Candy Muse, star quality. So she, even though she's not a dancer, she went through a whole lip sync and moved. So why did you not have something ready to go for this number that's gonna need dance moves?
It's one of the things that kind of kills me when. And I was just having a conversation with Kevo about this, but like, working with some people who, are also working with some girls, I come across other writers and, I'm like, want to collaborate? And they're like, no, I really only do this one thing and I do it this one way. And I am never going to write another kind of song. And I never want to attract any other kind of audience. I'm just going to keep doing this one thing all by myself and never get any help and be just fine. And I'm like, oh, how long have you been at this?
Enjoy.
Longer than I've been alive. Oh, got it. Gotta go. And, I do think sometimes when these girls come in and they're like, no, limited folder, I'm fine. And I just want to be like, we live in a digital world. Like there is no excuse for not knowing how to sew on some level, because I learned a little bit a couple of days ago on YouTube. There is no reason to not know a little bit about singing technique, because I go to improve my singing technique every day on YouTube. And that's the free shit. I'm not even talking about Skillshare.
We don't do it like that in the UK. We don't dance in the UK. So I wasn't prepared. So I just stood there.
I do just want to say that the person that I was the most impressed with, and I understand why she didn't win, I guess. No, I don't. But Queen Kong coming in, utilizing what makes her unique. And that's something that I feel like we sometimes get a little bit lost in. Like we get into this modus of, well, the girls are just the girls and everybody's doing shades of the girls. Queen Kong comes in with that that deep, powerful delivery from a unique voice with a cultural perspective. She is one of my all-time favorites, has been since we covered Australia. And she really gave me something here that I was just so proud of.
And again, I was sort of surprised by the critiques, because they really quickly glossed over the fact that she did great and went right to, your runway was bad, but then they only note that one of them was not Michelle's favorite. But
let's be real. The one that was not Michelle's favorite
it was
really
not
was
great.
just a piece of fabric.
It was a piece of
look.
fabric with a bow. Yes, true. But I don't know. It's that thing they keep doing over and over. It's a mix of editing and what they choose to show of the critiques. But it was, I actually thought for a second that she didn't place that well, because they were not glowing about her performance, which I did think was very good. And then Michelle comes in really hard for a second about the runway, but then out of nowhere they love everything else. So the whole package to me was kind of critiqued exactly where I thought it should be, but the setup was no, you're in trouble, girl.
And it's not Queen's fault, but it does feel like there's a little bit of, I'm hesitant to say favoritism, because I'm not that girl. I don't like saying that, but it does feel like they don't want to show certain queens in specific negative lights. I think the Ru girls maybe are getting slight of better edits to make them seem a little bit more like contenders when they do phenomenal. I think Queen had a fantastic night. I thought Kitty had a fantastic night, but I wasn't in love with the package they prepared. The entire package. I include everything. I am a full package kind of guy. Give me the entire thing.
So
all of it.
Balls and all.
Balls and all.
Down to the taint.
No. Cut that part out. But I look at Runway, I look at Challenge, and I look at Runway. I look at it all together. Did you give me the best of both for the entire night? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes your performance just blows everybody else out of the water that you can kind of get away with the Runway. But I don't know if either Kitty or Kween fully nailed the entire episode for me. I kind of thought Nehelania should have won. I liked her looks a little bit more. I thought she was pretty great in the challenge. And based on the Untucked, it would have been a great story reason to give her a win. And it would feel less like these international divas have to work so much harder and work so much more to get the same amount of attention from the judges that some of the more Americanized Ru girls get, if that makes sense.
I think it does. And I think one of the things that helps me crystallize my own response to is I wonder sometimes when you go to a show, like if you go to a Broadway show, just for example, and Kebo, what was the name of that show we saw with Stockard Channing and Rupert Grint?
It's Only a Play.
It's Only a Play. And so it had just nonstop stars. Like, I mean, literally every single person in it could pull a huge billing.
Stockard Channing, Nathan Lane, Rupert Grint, F. Murray Abraham, other people who I think are Broadway people. So, like, you know, most people don't care as much, but we do because we're snobs.
And I'll be honest, while it was a good show, a lot of the times it felt like the only reason Stockard Channing got moved into the frame or the only reason F. Murray Abraham had a line was because of that voice. And it didn't always serve the show. It served the stars.
Megan Mullally. Ooh.
Megan Mullally, yeah. When you are going to a show about the stars, you go to see them shine. One of the things that I wonder if they're trying to play into here is, well, you come for Alyssa Edwards. Alyssa Edwards, who is an absolute all-time MVP, a GOAT, as it has been known, is not blowing me away.
Not only is she not blowing me away, it's weird. She's not there to be a contestant. She's there to be a den mother. This was especially a weird episode because they did the thing that is right in her wheelhouse, choreographing the dance, and it just felt... I don't know, was there ever a storyline proposed that was like, this is let's highlight how this is unfair and like how Alyssa might be being shady and maybe giving the rest of the girls moves they can't quite succeed at because she'll look better by comparison, which is a thought that I had. This was weird choreography. What do you got, Joe?
So the similar idea storyline, Down Under season 1, Electra Shock was put in the bottom for her girl group challenge because, quote, she was better than everyone else and was the Beyonce, and you shouldn't be doing that when they tell people to do that all the time.
Yeah, and that's also the fantasy of Drag Race nonsense is you can just flip it. They could have had that Alyssa storyline and literally done the exact opposite of what I said and done what you said. What?
I also want to say, speaking of don't be the Beyonce, I just can't believe they got Cassandra Nova for this image right here.
Don't start.
It's an unflattering.
It really is. But also, I'm obsessed.
With a beautiful bald woman. Like
I'm obsessed with the idea of an alternate universe where Charles Xavier's brother is just a very difficult, flamboyantly gay person that is bald, not because they don't have hair, but because they need a smooth surface for wigs.
Oh my God! And she still dances, but that's how she uses her telepathy.
Yeah, it's not fingers in the head; it's dancing.
Yeah.
All right. This is our pitch. Marvel, be ready. We'll be at the offices on Monday.
Tuesday. It's a holiday.
Thank you. We'll be there Tuesday.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing with Alyssa. I did not think this was the strongest choreography I've ever seen from her. I don't really care about that. It's fine. But it felt like a moment to do a storyline. We did not do a storyline. I also felt, again, in the Den Mother category, it's odd that this high profile, well-known dancer and choreographer is choreographing for her team. Nobody else is at that skill level. Even if they're good, they're just not. I mean, she has a studio that is famous. People pay her money to choreograph. Jamal Sims is the other judge who is there. I would have said, Alyssa, we welcome your input. Jamal is doing is guiding all three teams to give something resembling a level playing field and something resembling, like, again, this international standard of, like, we're competing with the same set of tools, essentially. As great as the other queens ended up doing and really making it work, as soon as the girl group thing happened, I was like, well, Alyssa's team has this insane advantage of Alyssa Edwards is choreographing them.
And I felt like, okay, so, you know, my Greek goddess, I love her. You know, Pythia is like, I get warm when I think about her art. I love her. And the fact that she was so honest, that she was like, they're dumbing down the choreography for me. I'm really grateful. There's something about that. Like, I'm gonna be really honest. I was with a person who is very famously a very proud person who has a very difficult time communicating. And while I was with this person recently, they had a full-on panic attack, like an absolute anxiety attack out of nowhere. And the thing that I was so impressed was this person was like literally saying to me, "I am having a panic attack. I do not know what is happening." And like the level of communication when you're in trouble transforms how we talk about it after the fact. Because when somebody starts screaming, even if after like, "I'm so sorry, it was anxiety," you're still like, okay, but the screaming, you know what I mean? And so like when you have a situation that influences you by the way the person reacts, Pythia in that moment was so true and genuine about saying they're better than me. It was such a weird edit to have nobody say something like that about Alyssa. Again, Queen, amazing dancer, but I really take your point, TK. There really is something missing about the framework here. And I wonder if that's just like a story editing choice. I wonder if what we're seeing here is a result of not knowing what direction to go. You know, when you try to make something general and basic so that it appeals to everybody, it appeals to nothing. And I'm just a little concerned about that. And this made me think about previous girl group challenges. And like, I know we did coverage on it. I know we talked extensively about the girl groups. But one of the things that I thought was interesting here was there was no actual girl group vision. Like, that's one of the things that the other seasons kind of have built in. Nobody said, "Oh, we're doing the K-pop version. Let's do a K-pop girl group." Nobody said, "Oh, but though, my God, to know that other countries got Dragovision." One of the girls said that their girl group challenge was
Vanity.
Vanity, thank you. Vanity said that on her version, they do Dragovision, which is Eurovision for girl groups.
I mean, we technically had that on the UK. It just wasn't a Eurovision challenge. They called it Ruruvision, but then it wasn't an actual Eurovision challenge. Granted, UK HUD by the UK Dolls is still quite possibly one of the best singles to ever grace us. How often do sometimes we just think to ourselves, "Bing bang bong, sing sing song, ding ding dong."
Too often.
Too often.
Did you guys
Very
know
often.
that
Today.
Bye Bye Breakup written? Did you guys know it went like a cover of it went top 20 in the UK?
They're weird. They love parody music.
Yeah. I was amazed. Yeah. Evidently, it got Leland like a variety write-up, and I was reading all about it because I did not realize how much he actually owed to Tyler Oakley. Evidently, Tyler Oakley is the person who introduced Leland to everybody who would go on to make his career, and
that's something right.
You just don't expect it, and it also really talks about how long the show has been on. And sort of the people that have queer come and gone in that interim. But dang if Leland didn't really not luck into, because he's very talented. But, you know, there's also other talented unsung trans songwriters and people of color. And so just any of us who would have gotten that job, no matter how talented we are, no matter where we're from, would have lucked into it because it's the greatest job in the world. But man, did he ever. All right. Oh, what you got, Joj?
Kevo, could you go back to that image of Vanity in the yellow?
Probably. Yes.
I thought this was adorable. I thought I think one of Vanity's bigger strong suits is like the banter she had. She was like, they were like, how many reveals did you do? Well, hold on, let me pull out my list, and then just and it's a your average CVS receipt that she just starts naming what she did, and I really did enjoy that moment. To talk about something you talked about earlier, Nico, I loved in one of my favorite moments of Untucked was Pythia being like, I just feel bad, like I disappointed you two and brought you two down. And Soa and Kween be like, no, you did amazing. Be proud of what you did. You did not bring us down. We had a fantastic night. You did fantastic. She really did not do that bad. I actually don't think she was bottom three worthy. I know it wasn't the best, but I often, I'm biased. I have my bias because I do love Pythia. She's literally from one of my favorite seasons of Canada Drag Race. But I also try to give credit of, I know what your skill level is. I see you actively trying. And there's a different of like, that's much better than what she did on, Canada 2. So I think there is a level of growth. I get it. The one thing I did not like this episode, and I alluded to it earlier, I did not like the treatment of Nehelania this episode.
No.
I, on one hand, do think it's better to be a little bit more direct, but one of the things is she's trying to communicate to many people who this is not their first language. So she doesn't have some of the nuances of the English language, but it felt, and I am hesitant to use this word on the show, but it did feel a little gaslighty when they were like, no, we don't see you. Nobody's talking shit about you. When 2 seconds earlier, they're all like, well, she's in the bottom. She had a terrible night. She, fuck her drag. She's ugly. She's terrible. She's stupid. Blah, 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 blah. That's not what they said. But they literally were just talking about how they all thought, everybody who was in Untucked, all thought she's going to be in the bottom 2. She's bottom 2. She did terrible. And she wasn't wrong when she said that everyone's faces were a little like, she's in the top. Now, I also feel bad for Vanity in the moment. I think Vanity, after having those critiques and being like, I'm potentially going home, and then to have someone that you have been supportive of say everyone, you kind of lumped in with that. I don't think Nehelania was using everyone as in the literal everyone, but the English of you're just being general about the general group. And that's where I think part of the barrier of the English language for these people who English isn't their first language, it feels like they're taking certain aspects of it literally, when me as a native English speaker knows, oh, I know what she meant.
Well, I want to jump in on that, just like generally speaking, because like one of the things I do work is, and I work in education, and so I actually faced these sorts of like, there are linguistic barriers that cause problems for people, and I want to say clearly, anybody on this show's English is fantastic. It is fan-fucking-tastic. Everybody here is a polyglot who knows how to express themselves beautifully across multiple languages. And I'm so impressed. But the truth is, when we're talking about people with a camera on them, we treat everything a little bit differently. And I'm getting a little fascinated by culture's constant decision to go by either vibe or wording. And, this battle of connotative versus denotative is sort of eternally raging on the screen of Drag Race, in part because we'll always go back to a girl saying, were those the words that I said, though? Was that what I said? And no, it might not have been, but it was the vibe you gave. And then it's things like this where it's true. Nobody is literally sitting there going, I think Nehelania should fall down the stairs.
She's hideous. She's the fuggliest biatch. No.
But it's a lot of like turned backs. And when you feel othered in any way, the psychological reaction is to feel further othered. And I think that's what we're not seeing addressed here. There is cultural othering that we just all naturally do. It's just like, I wear this rainbow hat in public because I know that gay people are going to come up to me. Like it's just what we do. And so it is something I had not considered about Global All Stars. I maybe didn't realize that there would be the subtle vestiges of cultural xenophobia or cultural resistance kind of played out in a very subtle, unintentional way, kind of almost as a thought experiment.
Well, because it's, you see it on regular seasons. You see it on the dynamic of girls on a season where they all speak the same language. I constantly forget what her name was. It was literally just last year on Canada. With the whoa!
Oh,
Whoa! Like,
Melinda and Venus.
yeah, that
With
happens
gratitude!
in a season like that. And the fact is, it is so heightened on a season like this because of everything like language barriers and what we keep talking about, which is there has always been this sense of global all-stars is meant to be big, so this is on a big scale, so everyone feels a little bit extra emotional, anxious about a season like this because of that nature. So a situation like this was almost inevitable, I guess.
Also, speaking of almost inevitable, I guess, Kevo, we're talking about how, this cultural interplay is a little bit different across these queens. But something that I discovered through some wikieing is when the girls found out that they had been asked to Global All-Stars. Some girls had to miss their entire press tour for their season, including like finales they might have been in. One girl got the call during the 4th episode of her season. Galavaro got the call during the 4th episode of her season.
During the airing or
during the airing.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
So like that just sort of talks about there was definitely an intention to pick people, but it got me thinking about something else. Okay. Was there anything where they said you can't have one to be in Global All-Stars? No. This is 10 out of 12 winners are finalists. I'm sorry, 10 out of 12 competitors are finalists, which is the most finalists of any season ever. So one of the things that kind of brings to mind is, what if there was maybe somebody who is a deep contender? Could they have really brought in Alyssa and put her up against the Viv? Like, you know what I mean? Could they have put Alyssa up against... I'm trying to think of somebody who is such a no-brainer. How didn't they win?
I think you meant Pros.
Never stand the loss. I don't know how Alyssa will fare culturally if she does not place well, and I wonder if the girls had to be picked around that.
That's a really fair question. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that we just don't know. I think Alyssa will place... I think she's going to have a Roxy moment. I think she'll place well, but I think she will not ultimately be the winner because I think that storyline doesn't work. I could be wrong. We'll have to see how the rest of the show shapes up. But again, like they're kind of portraying her like she's not really here to even compete, and not in that way of like Bianca Del Rio is sailing through this competition, Bob the Drag Queen is sailing through this competition, but more like we don't know what to do having this person here that like doesn't like is winning at life and so doesn't really care she's winning at Drag Race. Like the stakes are not super high for her. The money is not much compared to like some of these girls. It's like, okay, well now I own the country, and other girls, what
would you say it's potentially comparable to someone like Sasha Colby, who had a very similar, she was kind of a den mother vibe throughout the season, and kind of just walked through the season at certain points, and we felt very early on was kind of an inevitable.
The only thing I feel like is different, it's a big thing, is with Sasha, especially when I rewatched the season, it really confirmed for me that, like, yeah, Sasha is maybe even sailing through more than Bianca and Bob, but still, for some reason, there's something compelling about watching her win the season, even though you feel like from minute one, the rest of the girls are like, oh, Sasha already won the season, so we're just kind of going through it. Like, it really does feel immediately like she showed up as the winner of the season. And yet it is still really compelling to watch her win and watch her, just do her thing and show her presence and her skills and just hit it every time. In this case, Alyssa really does show up like, I'm kind of the secret plant. Like, I actually work with the judges and I'm the secret plant, it's undercover boss. Like, it just doesn't have that same feel.
I get that.
And
I feel like if she doesn't win, it's going to be like that moment at the end of Miss Congeniality where Texas isn't one of the finalists and she just like shrugs into the camera like, I don't get it either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. It is a weird vibe.
And I really just do not get hungry from Alyssa in a way that I think is cool. Like, I mean, her vibe is very cool this season. Like, she's very confident. She's ready to go. But like, when I think of I'm back again from All Stars 2, like, I just think of a person who, because of the point in her career, because of how close it was to her previous season, she really did feel like, I would like to give you the best possible show, and I'm a pageant girl, so if I don't win, it's fine. But like, I would like you to root for me, and I would like to get as close as I can. And since then, we've seen her a billion places, a billion things, a billion Drag Race things, and I just don't. The vibe that I get is not hungry for this win. It is, if I get it, great. It's another jewel to hang on the crown that I built for myself. The queendom that I built for myself, but I actually do already have that queendom, so sort of don't give a shit. Compared to like a Queen Kong or a Kitty Scott Claus, who are both like here to win.
I think that even has to do with like the way Trixie's and Alyssa's have managed to become so successful in their own realms. They owe very little to RuPaul for their continued success, though of course the initial success is, so based in that exposure. So then I think when you're talking about a Queen Kong or a Pythia, who successful, I'm sure, but kind of it's that Jimbo moment. They're coming back because they are hungry like the wolf and they are here to win. One of the things that I keep trying to avoid them, but there's all of these season 17 lists. There's all of these All Stars 10 lists. There's all of these other versus the world lists going around. And I'm like trying really hard to avoid them because I feel as though I would really like there to be some kind of change up. This is kind of like really for me. And I understand this could be part of the bigger brand, but this for me is the point at which now we need to kind of take a step back and go, yeah, Rue does judge too many of these shows. Yeah. And that's why I think knowing that Down Under is starting up soon with Michelle, we just found out UK is starting up soon, right? I'm excited about this idea of some new blood, some new girls. And I hope that there's a little bit more focus on forward, because while I'm enjoying it, especially through our discussion, Global All-Stars feels like a big step backward for me in some ways. So
I also just talk a massive amount of shit. When we cut to the actual display of the challenge and everything, and Rue walked onto the stage, my immediate thought was the moment from season 5 of UK when she is telling Miss Naomi Carter, that look is so rotten, it almost works. It's so bad, it's almost good, but it just isn't there, and because of that, you are in trouble tonight. Hi! Hello! Everything about this, to quote RuPaul, is rotten. It is so bad. It's almost good, but in fact, no, we have failed tonight, and you are in the bottom.
Do you know what, though? I am really, really proud of myself because I actually feel like I recognize this wig from the finale of season 16, and so I was like, I am becoming somewhat of an aficionado that I can tell.
And it does feel like it was put in a bag after season 16, and it was a grocery bag, and it was pulled out of that grocery bag.
I think Jonah and I had a different reaction.
Okay, well, you guys are wrong, so go ahead.
I love this, but I have trash taste. I love a problem pattern. I don't get what the film reel is doing around her titty. I don't get it, but I think from the neck up, she looks lovely. I think Raven did an amazing job with her makeup this episode.
I do not agree. I actually, my first thought was maybe Raven was sick that day. Like this, I genuinely would be curious to know if Raven actually did her makeup today. And the earrings don't work, and the fisting gloves are a choice.
She had an event after this.
I think it looks like the season 16 premiere event.
Yeah, no, that's what it is to me. Is so much of this is evoking season 16 for no reason at all. There's also the pattern. You know what? It's 3 looks in 1, and that's what the runway is. So. Oh,
can we? Drag Race production, and I know you're watching. Stop. Many reveals.
Keep watching.
Yeah.
No.
Stop what you're doing immediately. Continue watching our show.
Yes.
I did not like this runway category. To expect them to have like 3 to 4 looks,
great.
Too much. No. Stop. It just forces people to wear like these big bulky things because they have to reveal into something else.
Yeah.
No. Everybody looked lovely. Nobody looked, rotted, gutted, rancid on the runway. Everybody looked gorgeous. I enjoyed everybody's looks. I did not like the amount of reveals they forced these girls to do. Bad. Stop doing that.
I would walk
One
out.
Reveal only.
I would walk out in a box and have it on my shoulders and then sit in it, change inside of it, come out of the box, go back into the box, change inside of it, come back out of it. Because I also, too, do not want big poofy body. And the other thing I hated about this, because I completely agree, it's too much, though, but it was too much with too little instruction.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear, no, they're all stars, so they can read our minds. Because they're all stars, not psychics. Yeah. And so it's tough because, like, I do think some of these were very successful. I think some of them were less successful. I wanted to say on the subject of the triple Disney villain all the way on the left, I don't know if anybody else reads an insane amount of articles about things that they only know tangentially about, but the creator of Bleach recently said in an interview...
The anime?
Okay. That Maleficent is the greatest ever created villain in history, and that all things have been trying to ape that level of excitement since.
I think that's... okay, that's a high bar, but
greatest villain ever introduced.
Not unfair, perhaps top 5 of the last 100 years for sure.
Definitely
up there with like Vader. Yeah.
I think it also has to do with like introducing, because I don't know that you could have Vader without Maleficent, like kind of legitimately. And
wizardry sort of comes from Maleficent, yeah.
And this big idea of the horned pale woman again, like that was not a story mode in vogue before this for a while. I think it's really interesting the ways that this show is a little bit less afraid of no, you look too methy. So my parasocial relationship with Maleficent is disturbing, and if she and I were best friends, I'd call her methy.
They used that on Once Upon a Time, didn't they? It's not just you.
I'm relieved. So I'm surprised that Disney wasn't. I'm surprised in a good way that they weren't like, no, Disney will think you're too methy there.
I think the wildest part was the extra little bit at the end where it's not just Cruella, but part Jessica Rabbit. Unexpected. Unexpected.
I just discovered via Instagram that there is a person in Maine who got the license plate MLFCNT, which clearly they meant to have be Maleficent, but it just looks like MILF.
MILF scent.
No, not scent.
MILF.
Not scent. So I just love that person, and I really want to meet them and see if I can buy that license plate, because we did pass a law against vulgar license plates when we all used to have them, and I really miss filthy Maine license plates. So MLFCNT, you and me both, baby.
You're an icon. Congratulations, you're the winner
the
of this
real
week's
one.
challenge.
Truly.
Milk
Yes.
plate.
Yeah, I want to get that plate so I can give it to Eva Queen.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Be like an international exchange between our great cities.
Can I also just say the amount of clowns now is
Okay,
getting alarming.
but I mean, it started with Bianca, but truly, there was this there's this small Drag Race theory that if you wear a clown look, you're gonna win your season.
No, that's voodoo.
How many
That's
clowns
not
there?
real.
It happened a couple times where we were like, oh, okay, maybe this is a thing. So keep an eye out for whoever wears a clown look. Though I don't think it'd help Miranda,
I will.
our dearly departed.
I do want to say I'm a big time spooky boy. I love being real scared. I love horror movies. Halloween is one of my times of power. Big fan. Fall, right? But I'm really kind of bummed out that Dragula has the trademark copyright and the licensing agreement for Halloween, it would seem, compared to Drag Race. Drag is and Hollywood gotta go. Drag and Halloween culture are just so enmeshed in one another. Many drag queens love the spooky shit with me, and it's unbelievable the number of drag shows that just verge into horror out of nowhere. It's awesome. It's my shit. It's my scene. So I'm really, I guess, a little bummed out as we go into, the spooky, scariest season of all, where boys are becoming men and men are becoming girls. I'm just sort of wondering if Drag Race is going to ever pick up on that cultural thread and get real spooky with it.
I mean, my thing has always been they can't dial into spooky too much, except for challenge. They can do spooky challenges, but they'll never do more than that because, again, we're talking about this homogeneity. But they really underutilize cosplay as an option, and talking about cosplay and talking about costuming and talking about pop culture inspiration for looks is a way to allow for a lot of spooky stuff, and to allow girls a little more freedom to, I think, do what we see happens naturally, which is all queer people identify with the horror genre. So inevitably we gravitate towards that a lot in our looks, in our consumption of media, and our production of
Bedroom
media.
habits. I mean,
Blammo. So I really, so many girls go on to, or come now before Drag Race with a career in cosplay, and I think for the show to embrace that a little bit would be their way into kind of having their cake and eating it too. But again, that just feels like that's money on the table that they're just leaving there. I know there's concerns about they can't be oh, everybody do, Marvel cosplay. Well, yeah. I mean that. But everybody do Marvel cosplay, and then they're paying for rights when somebody looks like Iron Man. But they can do, do your best superhero-inspired cosplay. And that's all you need to say. And then, you don't have, nobody has to say, hey, I'm Iron Man. Everybody just has a red and gold look, and we're not dumb. That's how so many different, it's how companies like Destructo Disc Designs continue to do comics-inspired clothing. But it's all look at this blue and red hoodie, and the hoodie is clearly Nightcrawler, but nowhere does it say Nightcrawler.
It says blue and red Nightman, and that's all it's got to say.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying, and I think it's where I sometimes wonder, and it's why I'm going to ask a complex dual question, and I want as a response to yours. And I would love everybody to kind of chime in on this, because something we in this family love is competitive cooking and baking shows. And honest to goodness, the thing I maybe look forward to the most is Ultimate Holiday Showdowns, where now they have gotten so much better at being more inclusive. Unfortunately, they do still stay pretty Judeo-Christian, heavy focus on the Christian, but they are really working to be more inclusive. And I love that like I think Nailed It did a holiday version, and then Making It did a holiday version, and we love all of these shows that do these special 4-week only events. I wonder if they could lean more into cosplay with something like a Halloween dress up month, 4-week All Stars Super thing, like they did with Monet, that very silly show we enjoyed with Monet.
Gag on it, faggot.
Going it shut or whatever.
With Rob and
Glam Slam.
Yeah.
I think a short YouTube 4-week Halloween special could be really fun.
But that's like this is the type of stuff we've been saying for like since we all started covering Drag Race, which is like this company could churn out product and like specific product. And when I talk about this being Global All Stars being kind of disappointing because it just relies on homogeneity, you're talking about exactly what I would like to see, which is I would rather see a 4-week Halloween show and then like, you know, do another one for Christmas, do another like get ready for summer. I don't know, but like I would rather see.
Give us that Halloween Spectacular again.
Please. That actually was really fun. And I have a whole other thought. I have many other thoughts on that. I just like how it is like actually scripted and all the
silly.
fights.
It was stupid.
Yeah. And I loved that. I really did enjoy it. And so I wish they were giving us like, you know, again, 4-week singing competition, 4-week pageant competition. Give me that rather than increasingly inoffensive iterations of formats that they already have. That, I mean, you know, I'm also the problem because I'm not boycotting them, and I wouldn't say boycotting, but I'm still buying them rather than saying like, hey, I'm not going to buy this because it's not as interesting as what you could be doing. I'm still buying them every time. So of course they think they can just get away with this, but yeah, I really would love to see exactly what you're talking about. And I've been waiting for it for like since Sharon.
I mean, that's one of the things that you guys kind of like pulled me into this franchise with. You guys drew me in with the promise that like, you know, that it wasn't all just lip syncs and lipstick. And like, that really has been what it has been. You know, I think Kennedy says it, you know, kind of the best. If you make it drag, that's just revealing yourself. If you reveal yourself, it's drag. So where's the drag in it? And like, I think what I'm starting to lose here is no one's revealing themselves because production isn't really giving them a chance to. And when they are, it does sometimes feel exploitative, like Nehelenia, where it felt like it was not showing her in her best light when she was just having a hard day. And like the most scene I feel like I've ever been in my entire life is that moment with Venus last season, where even though it was at my favorite contender that season, just the way she had to scream, whoa, to like get somebody to listen to her. Like, I felt like that is literally me screaming into the night. And like, those moments are so special because you see the real person. And that's what I'm coming back for. Between again, every single one of these girls is such an incredible polyglot, and I'm not coming for anybody's linguistic skills, but the difficulty for some of the girls expressing themselves the way they'd like to in a fair way, the expectations of their judging, their experience on the show, not really understanding how to enculturate a multi-perspective judging table to fairly judge women from 4 continents. I feel like we're really looking at why Global All Stars is a 0.1, and it will need to be All Stars 1 to 2. It will need to be Secret Celebrity 1 to 2, because the people who are losing out are the girls, the viewers, and production, everybody's doing their best, but maybe this didn't have the conceptual focus from the outset it needed for the success it deserves. So, yeah. I mean, that's really all I got on this. Oh, him again?
Sorry, maybe at the same time, like, this is just doing exactly what they want it to do. That's true. You know, we don't have the numbers. We don't know what the expectation is. This also released at a weird time, you know, so we just have no idea. Like, I think we're talking a lot about how it could be more successful to us as viewers and what we would love to see. And we do this with comics all the time. Like, we talk about, like, books that weren't great. You know, I mean, we criticize Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man a lot. It's just not for me and Nico. Like, it just doesn't do the things we want it to do. But it is consistently one of their best-selling books. So a lot of times when we talk about what we would like to see, we're not under the illusion that Marvel's like, oh, we could sell more if we did this idea. And similarly, World of Wonder might just be like, this is exactly where we want to be. And that's great for them if that's their model for making money in a capitalist society. It's just like, as art that we're watching, I agree with all of your suggestions, and it's what I would like to see. But, you know, unfortunately, regardless, I'm still watching. So I'm not contributing to steering the thing in the direction I'd like to see it.
And you know, next week's episode, what is it again?
It's a big booby acting challenge.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry. I didn't remember anything that it was about because the breasts were too big. And
Jimbo's impact.
Oh my god.
Yes, genuinely, 100%, and it's weird. It's super late for a Barbie movie reference. It's weird to have it be boobs. Oh, this is not turning out to be what I thought it would be.
And over-the-top giant hooters are definitely an international funny haha. So I get how this is definitely, you know, going for those lactating laughs. But
yeah,
I find myself, I guess, memorially kind of mesmerized by the fact that this is just a little too silly, chesty a challenge for me. And I wonder if that's because I think we should be moving toward challenges that allow everybody to express their drag art. And over the top huge boobs is just something that makes Rue laugh. And like, maybe there's ways to be funny that aren't just huge boobs. Maybe it could have been some funny proportion in some way. So somebody's hair could have been bigger than them. Somebody could have had a giant ass, or I know Evie would have done something crazy with long arms. You know what I mean?
I mean, the other thing is it's Booby isn't Barbie, and they're just cribbing any joke they can and reference they can from Barbie and the Barbie movie. So, I mean, it does.
Gynecologist.
They're definitely going to make that joke. Like, you know, it does just feel like they were like, what can we riff on really quickly that we can get these scripts out? And yeah, anyway. Yeah, I mean, I'm not dying over it.
Well, until we all get smushed by those boobs, I had a great time talking about this episode. We certainly missed our resident queen, Tori Sheehan. Absolutely the best. Wish she was here. But hope she's having a great Labor Day. And happy birthday. Love our fans, love our audience. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I've had a great time with these guys. It's always such an incredible blast just getting up here and being stupid with these three beautiful men I love very much. And I just want to put out there, let's just say two people you'd love to see in the finale and then your sign off. Jonah, get us going.
You know what? I like many girls on Twitter this week. I'm Team Italy, so let this finale be Nehelenia versus Pythia. And you can find me places online supporting Miss Italy, all over places at Peak Jonah.
I love that. Let me just say that I love how spiteful that is. Kevo, where can everybody find you? What you doing? Who you want to see win? What you're wearing in Europe?
My social is Kevo Really, KEVOREALLY, and my pick 2, as we no, that was pick 3 in the lottery. It's pick 3 and pick 4. Well, then that's this.
Pick 2 at Panera.
Yeah, my pick 2 at Panera. Thank you. Worked there too. I'm going to go with Kitty Scott Claus. I'd love to see her in the finale, and I guess I will go with Eva La Queen for the Disney references this week. Why not?
Love it. TK, what you got?
You can find me at TK Elemental on all of the socials. I'm going to say Miss Queen Kong. And also, everybody else has said except Kitty Scott Claus, I agree with, but I'm not going to say those people again because I don't want to double up. So Queen Kong and Alyssa. Don't want Alyssa to win, but I do want to see her at the finale.
I love that. I feel like Alyssa would be more than happy to just choreograph everything, even if she is not in it. Yeah,
exactly.
Which would be a lot of fun. I also just want to say, until Nehelenia gets out there and sings Lanoia, I feel like it's not really a global season.
I mean, she didn't know that song existed yet.
That song didn't exist when this was filmed.
I know, and like the funniest part of it is like we did some Eurovision coverage, and that song got us blocked in a bunch of countries. So,
Yeah.
very funny, really tragic. So, I want to just say that my tops are well, I imagine Queen Kong is a top, but maybe Pythia is verse. That's my top two that I'd like to see happen there. I love them so much. If you want to check out more of me, Nico Action, NICOACTION. If you want to check out my music that's been playing in the background, it's been all originals today. What's up? You can check that out at Nico Action Music, NICOACTION MUSIC. Also, don't forget SoundCloud, Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you want to find me. I'll never call it X. Like, comment, and subscribe. X is for show, X is for podcast. Everywhere you like to look. We've done some amazing alien coverage to get you guys ready for spooky season. And do us a favor, stay safe. Be brave, evolve daily, and until next time, we'll see ya.